And then on top of that, he had an interesting take on Chinese real estate.
Let's hit it.
Let's hit it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the Chinese property sector, because it is so influential and important to that country?
Sure. I think China property, first of all, it's a great example of what we were just talking about, which is indices doing damage to emerging market investors. And if you go back 3-4 years ago, if you are in an ETF or you're passive index, you have to own China property, and you own it at par, and you own it in a big weighting in an index. And the one thing that was clear about China property at par is that there was no property to collateralize that par bond. So now people are like, well, let's talk about investability. China's not investable. And I think the investability for us is one, you always have to talk about an entry price. So, I would argue, there's probably nothing at par that I would want to buy in China today.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And then 3 months later, we looked at Vanke Real Estate, which was last week. That's been on the minds of a lot of investors in Hong Kong because it is a high-flying, high-profile real estate development firm in Shenzhen and Guangzhou. And they're having problems.
Yeah.
And they're missing payments, and they're building buildings like crazy. And people want to make sense of this $1 trillion surplus that China has and the amount of goods that they are exporting to the world. And even though I think people underestimate the demand within China, it just tells you that real estate is really what is driving the movement and trying to get people from the countryside to the cities, give them jobs so that they can keep it together. I think the great mystery for us is how unified or how splintered is China politically as a government and as a society.
And we don't know. And the other problem is, like, how do you judge? I mean, listen, obviously there's a real estate issue there, right?
There is.
We don't know how to measure it quite right.
Well,
right? There's no transparency, right?
That's there's no transparency, and that's why these real estate stocks. That's why we mention them on the show, right. And we do it quite frequently. Is Vanke? We talked about it last week, and we talked about the rising short interest and how the stock price is falling and how that continues to keep going. So, one of the things that that Robert got and what Gramercy gets right is they had the world situation really sized up 3 months ago. And if you were watching in the middle of your summer vacation on August 22nd, you got a real pre-look into what's happening today.
And you could have done something with Chinese real estate stocks.
Exactly.